a look at this video. These are the images of U.S. Border Patrol agents confronting and intimidating Haitian migrants, blocking them from entering the United States along the U.S.-Mexico border in Del Rio, Texas. The administration says it is seeking more information on the way Border Patrol agents have been treating Haitian migrants. Vice President Kamala Harris had this to say earlier.
What I saw depicted about those individuals on horseback treating human beings the way they were is horrible. And I fully support what is happening right now, which is a thorough investigation into exactly what is going on there. But human beings should never be treated that way, and I'm deeply troubled about it. The whole point is that we have to understand Haiti. I mean, talk about a country that has just experienced so much tragedy that has been about natural disasters, the head of state assassinated. And we really have to do a lot more to recognize that as a member of the Western Hemisphere, we've got to support some very basic needs that the people of Haiti have to get back up.
Joining us now to discuss this continuing crisis is Haitian historian Roger Persaud. Welcome back, Roger. Help us understand in this moment how the country of Haiti is dealing with not only the devastation in the wake of the earthquake, but now also an influx of deported migrants.
Yes, well, Haiti was deprived of development funds. So any kind of natural disaster hits Haiti harder than anybody else. Any other country will have a little fund to take care of natural disasters. In Haiti, this does not exist. It does not exist because of the reparations they had to pay to France for the lives of 200,000 people that died fighting for their freedom. And then it was continued by the United States when we went into Haiti in 1915 and stayed there for 19 years, further impoverishing the nation, leaving it unable to provide for itself anytime trouble starts anywhere.
Roger, let's go back to what the Vice President said, because she is the second in command, and she's speaking in a way that we have not heard from the administration prior to her comments today. And she broke it down in terms of understanding what Haiti is going through, political upheaval after an assassination, the poverty, and you could see that she was emotional and yet trying to find a way to clear the path for Haitians to be treated with dignity. Do you think she is hitting home a message to Americans?
Yes, I think she is hitting home. I think Americans are understanding more and more what Haiti has gone through and what Haiti is going through. And we need to get with our international partners and get involved in Haiti. I've loved what the Congresswoman that was on earlier said about them having an aide down there who was really looking into it and created a white paper. I hope they can get to the bottom of this. Most people that know about Haiti know that the problem is the control of the oligarchs. They control the elections, they control finance, they control the economy, transportation, energy, all the important sectors. Once they're still in control, it's very difficult to do anything about Haiti. But I think the Vice President's on the right track.
The Vice President has been tasked with dealing with migration in Central America and throughout the Western Hemisphere. The history, though, of how Haitian immigrants get treated is very different than, say, Cuban immigrants or even the Central American ones. Talk to us about why there's been such a difference between the Black Haitian treatment and the treatment of brown people from Latin America.
Dehumanization. The Black Haitians have been dehumanized. They're not considered human. And it's ridiculous because the United States owe these people a debt. If it wasn't for the Haitian Revolution, there'd be no America as it is today. There'd be no Louisiana Purchase, 828,000 square miles. This was a gift by the Haitian government to the United States and caused this country to double in size. Yes, I remember the Mariel boat lift. The Haitians they had the 1 foot wet foot rule and all this nonsense. The Haitians always seem to be at the back burner, and we owe them so much. It's absolutely ridiculous.
It is time to see an end to the kind of inhumanity and inhumane treatment that we witnessed yesterday. How do you think the Border Patrol will move forward now that the whole world is watching and has viewed what took place there yesterday? How will this now change the way Haitians are treated there at the border?
I can't predict that. That's going to be very difficult. The number of Haitians there is tremendous. Tens of thousands of people. The Border Patrol, they've got to try and do their job, but they've got to do it in a humane way. They wouldn't be doing this if this were Europeans. And I think this is going to make a change, but it's hard to predict. The Border Patrol, they have their hands full. This thing is out of control. We need much more help than the Border Patrol. We have to call in the National Guard, but this situation has to be handled humanely. These people must be treated like the human beings that they are.
Is that part of the problem? Is that our immigration policy has shifted entirely to Border Patrol, National Guard? That's all law enforcement. That's not a humanitarian-led immigration policy.
I agree. But when you've got 10,000 people on the border, you've got to do something. I don't know of any other entity that is capable of putting this situation under control. This is a very difficult situation. But what we've got to do is, apart from getting this situation solved and handling this in a humane way, that must be done. But we've got to change things inside of Haiti. We've got to give the people of Haiti their freedom from these oligarchs. We've got to get involved and try to correct this problem. I was very pleased when the Vice President went into the Latin American countries, but I wondered why Haiti was left out. But you've got to get to the root cause of the problem before you can fix the problem.
You've said that very clearly, and that is something. Why was Haiti left out of her visit to other Western Hemisphere nations? But I want to get something to real quickly back to the border. In our last hour, Derek Lewis, our reporter on the ground there in Del Rio, gave us a glimpse of what was going on, and he talked to a young man who made it through with his pregnant wife, yet his brother was deported. This is what Haitians experience along with Latin Americans. Why is this happening, and why are so many people still trying to come to America?
They're trying to come to America because their countries have been destroyed. The economies have been decimated. Corruption is in total control. The drugs that are running their country, the drug gangs, and the drugs are all being sold here. Most of them are being sold here. So we're still part of the problem. We need to become part of the solution and stop being such a big part of the problem.
Roger Persaud, Haitian historian, thank you again for joining us on The World Tonight.